The abduction was neither quiet nor clean. One moment, Commander Jenna Briggs was halfway through punting a combat drone into next Tuesday during a SEAL training sim. The next, she was waking up in what looked like an alien IKEA clearance section, fused with a military dentist's office. Fluorescent green lighting, chrome restraints, and a faint scent of lilac-scented ozone. Not terrifying, just aggressively weird. Her first thought, this better not be another Pentagon trust-building exercise. Her second, where's my hydration pack? The answer came in the form of High Logician Zrikal, who floated in on a translucent hover disk that screamed overcompensating, academic. 8 eyes blinked out of sync as he intoned, Specimen Delta Negative Pink has achieved neural reactivation. Jenna groaned. Great. Space DMV. She flexed her wrists just enough to make the restraint squeak. Listen, Doc Ock, unless this is a sleep study with snacks, I'm gonna need coffee and a reason not to file an interstellar lawsuit. Zrikal visibly twitched. Behind a pulsating fear shield, medical lead Glimsh bubbled anxiously. Subject, exhibits high threat potential through linguistic subversion. Jenna blinked. Did you just accuse me of weaponized English? The walls emitted a soothing mist. A voice, soft and dispassionate, whispered, initiating baseline terror induction, stage 1, phantom regret scenario. The room darkened. Holograms bloomed like bad memories. Her dog not recognizing her, unpaid taxes, being back in high school with no pants. Jenna rolled her eyes so hard, a retinal scanner in the ceiling misread it as a sonic attack. That's cute, she said. You should see Navy HR. Sirens blared. Security analyst Katork, a reptilian with the posture of a tax auditor, stormed in and threw a rulebook at the panic button. This one mocks trauma. We request gas protocols. Already deployed, shrieked Glimsh, flipping levers with gelatinous appendages. A hiss. The air thickened with Xenovapor 33, allegedly capable of inducing self-reflection in tyrannical hive queens. Jenna sniffed. Smells like Jersey in August. Who bottled this? Axe for war criminals? Panic spread faster than the gas. Zrikal's eyes jittered like a broken screensaver. Why, isn't she weeping? Jenna tilted her head and faked a sob. Oh no, my feelings. Whatever shall I do without breathable air slightly worse than Cleveland? A holographic chart updated behind her. Subject reaction, null. Emotional contagion, index, negative. Galactic protocol violation, 12 codes breached. Katork whispered to Glimsh, could this be an evolved anti-fear mechanism? No, Glimsh burbled. She might be hallucinating. Possibly thinks this is a chili cook-off. Jenna wiggled a finger. You know I can hear you, right? Also, you forgot the cilantro in that mist. Rookie move. A nearby technician spontaneously retired. Alarms began speaking in full sentences. You are experiencing a psychological integrity collapse. Please file an exit strategy. Zrikal collapsed into a fetal float. She's immune to terror fog. She mocks trauma sculpting. She's not even trying to be threatening. Jenna cracked her neck. Buddy, I've eaten expired tuna with a side of regret. You think this impresses me? The chamber flickered as backup systems kicked in. The wall displayed a massive file labeled Terran Analysis Revised Urgency. Jenna's image now bore a red border and the tag CABRU, Category Alpha Biohazardous Resilience Unit. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Unity Council stopped arguing about trade tariffs long enough to send an emergency memo. Do not engage. Species 342T, humans. Without multi-layer emotional shields and counseling drones on standby. Jenna smirked and leaned back, legs now loose thanks to a poorly calibrated restraint system. So, which one of you jelly beans wants to explain why you kidnapped the one human who grew up downwind of a Superfund site? In the silence that followed, a cleaning drone approached and short-circuited just from exposure. Jenna picked up its remains, like a lunch tray, and sighed. I'm bored. Someone gas me again or bring snacks. Or, let me go home. I've got laundry and a chilly night rematch with a Marine who thinks he can outsweat me. As she casually dismantled her chair with a discarded scalpel and enough sass to destabilize galactic morale, somewhere deep within the BIRN database, a new report filed itself under Existential Threats Humorous Division. The problem with abducting a Navy SEAL wasn't the extraction. It was everything that happened after, especially if that SEAL was Jenna Briggs, and especially if the alien captors had the collective tactical creativity of a confused toaster. Having thoroughly failed to terrify her with fog, phobia projectors, and weaponized nostalgia, the BIRN staff turned to what they called Phase 2 Psychological Compromise Protocol, internally known as the Gaspocalypse. It sounded dramatic in the report titles, but in practice looked like a sad intergalactic theme park ride designed by committee. Jenna now sat, arms uncuffed, but mostly because nothing in the last 18 hours had worked, in a glass chamber labeled Advanced Containment Suite, Vibes Only. Pulsing colors flashed around her, while the ceiling misted down a new experimental compound called Dread Mist Prime, a substance with the alleged power to induce panic attacks through airborne regret triggers. She took one breath, wrinkled her nose, and muttered, "Congratulations, you've bottled college debt." Outside the chamber, High Logician Zrikal was deteriorating into statistical delirium, shouting at a console that insisted Jenna's fear index was lower than a carbonized slug's emotional range. He demanded recalibration, then blamed the console, then finally blamed evolution. Medical lead Glimsh had taken to slapping itself to stay coherent, while security analyst Katork updated the emergency doctrine to include a new status. Unreactive human class biological anomaly, possibly divine, probably from Ohio. Jenna yawned so violently a thermal camera misread it as an energy spike. "This show sucks," she called out. "When's the terrifying part? I've had scarier bowel movements after gas station sushi." To boost intensity, the chamber deployed phase-shifted holograms of human mortality fears, aging, betrayal, taxes, but Jenna simply began rating each one aloud. "Oh, look, my ex filing a restraining order. 2 stars. That one where you're late for combat deployment but in clown makeup. 3 stars for creativity. Ooh, taxes. 5 stars. No, wait, those actually scare me. I withdraw my sarcasm." A diagnostic drone pinged and combusted on the spot. In the observation dome, Zrikal collapsed onto his hoverpad, whispering, "She's metabolizing terror into stand-up routines." Jenna was now sipping a nutrient slurry through a straw. She had stolen it from an emergency hydration unit and appeared to be drawing mustaches on the glass with her finger. This is like Disneyland, if Disneyland was staffed by nervous squid with zero entertainment value. The Council of Empirical Fear Conditioning, CEFC, sent a remote observer, Ambassador Vunak, a mollusk-like dignitary famed for surviving the siege of Kratok Prime. He lasted 6 minutes observing Jenna before retiring and declaring her a biological satire engine with anti-terror armor composed entirely of sass. Meanwhile, Jenna began naming the cameras. "Camera 1, you're my favorite. Camera 2, you blink weird. Camera 3, you're a narc." She pointed at one dome corner and whispered, "Tell Central Command I'm unbreakable unless you bring a chihuahua in a Halloween costume. That's my one weakness." A technician tried to analyze her neural patterns, but the resulting graph resembled abstract art and began playing smooth jazz when printed. Zrikal finally hit a large red button marked Last Resort, Full Spectrum Fearstorm. A klaxon howled. "Warning. Deploying Xenomist X-72. Viewer discretion advised." Jenna leaned forward. "Ooh, finally. The good stuff." The chamber hissed as a sickly purple mist poured in, so caustic it had once made a Krigothian warlord wet himself mid-war speech. Jenna sniffed it once and smiled. "Smells like the New Jersey Turnpike on fire. You guys could sell this. I'd use it to clean my garage." 3 monitors exploded. Zrikal fainted. Glimsh began speaking in tongues. Jenna, entirely unbothered, stood up, stretched, and tapped on the glass. "Hey, if I survive this, do I get a t-shirt? Something like, 'I survived the intergalactic gas-pocalypse, and all I got was this lousy chamber.'" The lights flickered as the room filled with alarms recalculating her threat profile. On a distant council moon, an emergency subcommittee was formed to determine whether sarcasm could constitute a Category A psychic weapon. Jenna just sighed, rolled her shoulders, and added, "Next time you try to break a human, maybe don't pick the one who grew up under power lines, drank unfiltered hose water, and thought pepper spray was seasoning." There comes a point in every overfunded alien research project where science gives up and superstition kicks in, and for the BIRN facility, that moment arrived. The second commander, Jenna Briggs, asked if anyone had a lozenge, because the gas is starting to clear my sinuses but also maybe exfoliate my lungs. High logicians recall, now mostly a gibbering mess propped up by 2 interns and a stress blanket, demanded the sacred contingency, the one black box protocol never meant to be used outside of reality-bending warfare. Thus was summoned Operation Gaslight Gatekeep Girl Boss, which sounded impressive on the agenda, but turned out to be a psychological campaign involving deepfake guilt loops, simulated betrayal scenarios, and whispers of inadequacy piped directly into the subconscious. Jenna, unfortunately, had once survived 4 years of naval-base politics, 2 toxic exes, and a deployment with the 3rd SEAL Team during the Great Inter-Service Bean Chili Challenge of 2041, and as such, her emotional damage was not only fully vaccinated, it was weaponized. The chamber darkened, and disembodied voices filled the air. "You've failed. No one respects you. You peaked in basic training." Jenna blinked, then chuckled. "Wow. Did you just read my mother's Facebook comments?" Across the control room, Katork whispered. "Is she enjoying it?" Glimpse flailed into a puddle. "She's metabolizing the trauma. It's a reverse cascade of resilience compression." Jenna, now comfortably seated cross-legged in the center of the room, was roasting the AI-generated nightmare sequence like a Netflix special. "Oh no, my squad turned on me. Guess I'll cry into the giant pile of medals I keep in my go bag." The AI, clearly overwhelmed, began recycling cliches from Terran daytime soap operas. At one point, her commanding officer was revealed to be a lizard in a wig. Jenna just raised a brow. "Okay, now it's getting interesting." The AI broke into static. The ceiling leaked what might have been an apology. Outside, the council sent a specialist, Zavrix, a xeno-empath with 17 certifications in breaking minds and 1 in alien aromatherapy. He entered Jenna's chamber, cloaked in psionic vapor, eyes glowing, voice lowered to a soul-shattering timbre. "Human, you fear what lurks beneath your identity." Jenna stared. "Cool. You've got the voice of a haunted yoga instructor. Do me next." His eyes flared. "I will unearth your deepest vulnerability." She stood, crossed her arms, and leaned forward like she was at a bad stand-up night. "My greatest fear? Middle seats on long flights. No armrest dominance. No escape. Just me, 2 elbows, and existential rage." Zavrik stumbled back, tripping over a psychic amplifier. Jenna smirked. "Also spiders, but only the fast ones. You got any of those?" The chamber cracked, literally. The containment dome developed a fracture line, which sparked a containment breach alarm labeled Category 4 Snark Event. Zrikal, now sipping emergency electrolyte broth through a beak straw, whispered to Glimpse, "We may be looking at the first sentient sarcasm-based life form." Jenna was pacing now, clapping slowly. "You wanted fear? Try surviving in a house with no AC, 5 siblings, and a father who thinks the best cure for injuries is duct tape and threats." Another alarm screamed. Jenna reached the one-way mirror and tapped it with a finger. "Hey, Squidward. New idea. Let me out before your AI starts quoting Dr. Phil again." Silence. Then the ceiling voice. "Deploying psychological countermeasure. Realization of isolation." Lights dimmed. A haunting rendition of Sound of Silence began playing in reverse. Jenna clapped again. Wow, you guys weaponized Simon and Garfunkel. That's cultural war crimes. A senior xenopsychologist broke down sobbing. Back at Galactic HQ, the Unity Council reviewed footage of Jenna headbutting a containment drone just to steal its snack tube and coined a new classification. Human. Subtype Jenna, psycho-spiritual apex predator. Jenna finally sighed and sat back down. You tried guilt, fear, betrayal, and emo playlist tactics. What's next? Interpretive dance? Because I swear if one of you starts miming my daddy issues, I will absolutely lose it, in a very calm, bureaucratically complaint way. And, somewhere in the heart of that broken, malfunctioning, gas-scented chamber, the universe began to realize this wasn't a prisoner. This was a contagion of defiance with biceps and trauma response sarcasm. The moment the ceiling cracked open and dumped a final hail of self-adjusting empathy crystals, each one calibrated to balance the soul frequencies of hostile species. Jenna, Briggs stood up, casually caught one midair and licked it like a lollipop. Tastes like fluoride and bad decisions, she muttered, before throwing it back at the wall, shattering it with a musical plink that somehow triggered a symphony of collapsing authority. Outside, the BIRN facility descended into a bureaucratic meltdown of cosmic proportions. Logician Zrikal had finally resigned mid-scream and declared himself a sentient mushroom. Katork locked himself in a rulebook archive, muttering about Protocol 99B sarcasm-induced collapse. And Glimpse had melted into a cathartic puddle of gelatin, weeping softly about the failure of institutional fear models. Meanwhile, Jenna, with nothing more than mild annoyance and 17 hours of unshowered defiance, had walked calmly through 5 security barriers, waved sarcastically at the emergency response team, one of whom fainted when she winked, and proceeded straight to the central control dome where the Intergalactic threat registry was stored. The poor intern operating the console stared as she booted it up, typed Earth, deleted mildly annoying primate species, and replaced it with Earth, category red, tactical nightmare zone. Threat level, emotional tank with upper body strength. Then, for flavor, she uploaded a photo of herself flipping the bird while drinking hydration sludge from a test tube labeled Terror Trial 12B. Across the galaxy, systems updated. Entire battle plans halted mid-simulation. Warlords choked on ceremonial blood wine. Diplomats began drafting peace offerings involving snacks, Wi-Fi, and not looking Earth in the eye. The Galactic Unity Council, now watching through an emergency protocol link, fell silent as Jenna strolled into their secure broadcast chamber, a place no unauthorized species had ever entered, and sat down with a smirk, feet on the desk, spinning. A data crystal like a poker chip. "Sup," she said. "I heard you've been trying to emotionally dismantle my species with pastel fog and discount trauma holograms. Bold strategy. Didn't work. Might want to consider therapy." The Varnock Chancellor opened his mouth, closed it, and whispered, "She's not even armed." "Buddy," Jenna said, lifting her eyebrow, "I am the weapon." The Council passed an emergency vote in 3 seconds flat. Earth was granted full immunity from conquest, immediate elevation to strategic containment partner, and access to galactic hazard pay. A new classification was entered into the Universal Law Book: Human, Jenna class, non-containable. Approach. With snacks and self-awareness. Jenna, now officially appointed as Earth's accidental ambassador of unfiltered reality, accepted the title with a shrug and one condition: her office be built next to the alien cafeteria and include a button labeled Deploy Snark. It did. By the time she returned to Earth, several alien empires had declared her a demigod, one cult had formed around her sweatband, and the BIRN facility had been converted into a therapy retreat for traumatized scientists who needed group hugs and counseling every time someone mentioned eye roll. As she stepped off the transport, a Terran general saluted and asked what her official report would say. Jenna adjusted her armor, popped her neck, and grinned. Mission accomplished. They tried to gas me with fear. I farted back confidence. Tell them Earth's not just immune to panic, it exports it wholesale. Also, someone get me a coffee. Galactic diplomacy tastes like foot. And thus concluded Operation. Nope. Gas, 1 part military debacle, 1 part psychological revolution, and 1 giant leap for sarcasm-powered diplomacy.